big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Yeah, it is Wednesday and I ain't had no coffee in 2 days, and I've got my Bustelo in the cup. So if you know, you know what time I'm on today. I'm hyped. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click your notification bell, select all, so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah. Now let's get into this hot Henny. Hey, so today we doing a little bit something different, right? Because I told y'all I was trickling Chrisean back into the timeline over here because, you know, if you scroll through my history, you know that that's where I started at, and that's always home and the foundation of Hennessy Reviews. So we're trickling her back into this, and we are also talking about Bricc Baby. Now, I just want to take a second, and I just want to say, because I received so much flack, because people got so much to say about me being a female over in a sector that's predominantly male-dominated, and I talk about a lot of stuff that they feel like a female shouldn't talk about, maybe you should still listen. Because at the end of the day, you know what happens when men don't listen to women, right? When y'all don't listen to y'all female, when your girl says, stay away from that person. When your girl says, I don't think you should go out tonight. When your girl says, I don't think that's a good idea. What ends up happening? You end up jammed up, or you end up sitting back like, damn, she was right. Well, I told y'all Bricc Baby was not coming home. I told y'all that he was permanently housed. I told y'all that. But I also told y'all that he was trying and that we were going to see where this was going to lead us, okay? As if you know, where this was going to lead us, because I read the court docs, and the court docs said that he was permanently detained. And now we got the court docs, and let me just say, I happened to look over, hey Uda, he said, shout out to Henny, speak your mind as a woman, don't worry what they saying, you know what you be talking about, salute to you, thank you so much. I am going to put y'all comments on the screen because y'all know that's what I've been forgetting to do, but it's not because I don't love y'all, it's because I be trying to give y'all the content. Anyway, so yeah, I even mentioned the permanent detained thing because, you know, even though he was trying, the government did what they did, and now we got the court docs. And I know a lot of people have read the court docs, and we're going to read the court docs too, because they're out. And even if you heard them, you know I'm going to be entertaining, because this is 2 days of no Bustelo, and I'm back on the Bustelo. And for those of y'all that are like Henny, what's going on here? This is Spiked Coffee in the morning. In the morning, y'all do not get eyeliner, lipstick, lashes. Y'all don't get none of that. Y'all get earrings and my natural beauty. Anyway, so let's get into the content. For those of y'all that are here right now for the Chrisean content, don't worry. I'm not going to hold y'all here for y'all to sit and listen to some stuff that y'all may not know anything about. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all what y'all want first thing here in this morning. And we're going to get into Chrisean because Chrisean has a new boo. I got to laugh because that get back a move. I have to laugh. Oh, today's t-shirt says, oh, y'all can't see it. Today's t-shirt says thick thighs and R&B. Okay, there it goes. Thick thighs and R&B vibes. Boom. Love my t-shirts. That's my thing now. My t-shirts and my nails. Anyway, so after BLUEFACE did his whole embarrassing story time, y'all. Okay, wait, let's take it back and rewind. So y'all remember when Carletta cousin Carletta, auntie Carletta, whatever you call her, cousin, all of that. You know, our fave, she came up and she had announced to us that BLUEFACE and Chrisean had gotten married, remember? And that took off and took flight all the way around the internet. All right, you know, I didn't give my credit, but it's okay. It's okay. Because y'all know who was up on that screen. It was me with BLUEFACE's auntie, Carletta. And so Carletta let us know that Chrisean and BLUEFACE, they were married, right? Right. Well, then Chrisean came out and Chrisean did a video and Chrisean was talking about how they had gotten into it because she had went outside and didn't tell him that she had gone outside. So he got in his little feelings and him threw a little temper tantrum. But she came on and she explained to us. She said, yeah, he came. Matter of fact, I ain't got to tell y'all. Let me go ahead and play the video of what she said when she said what she said and how she said it. Now, I don't know who this channel is. I ain't never seen it before, but shout out to Bangy Shorts. I hope that you are not a hater.
At the end of October, my child's father, he get the name tattooed on her jaw. Then he get a pastor on the phone, and we say our vows. We married November 2nd.
Got the name tatted on his jaw. We've all seen that photograph. And if you aren't following Straight Henny Media over here on YouTube, then you miss all of this Chrisean Henny because we be spilling it over there, okay? We be spilling it over there, but we're going to trickle it over here still. I promise. We're going to trickle it over here. But I'm bringing people up to speed that may not know because here's what you don't know, ladies. Some of the men be following the Chrisean and BLUEFACE story too on the low. Them, they be telling me that they was following me from the Chrisean stuff. It wasn't just the gangster stuff. Boom. Okay, so I'm bringing them up to speed because they're not keeping up with it the way that we keep up with it, but they've been keeping up with it, if you catch what I'm saying. Okay, so boom. BLUEFACE got Chrisean's name tatted right here on his face with a big old trophy on his face. And you heard what she said. You got the pastor on the phone. They said their vows. They was married November 2nd, but
he moving like God sent him or something. I'm baby stepping in for real. And I say baby step is because we didn't do the marriage license. I didn't come out saying, oh, we married. Oh, my man. I didn't. We were literally like just protecting whatever we did for each other to heal for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not everything is meant for the public, blah, 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 all that good stuff. At the end of October.
So she came out and she said they exchanged their vows. Okay, so they had exchanged vows when she did the Q&A with him a couple weeks ago. You know, on the video, she showed where it had Apostle Mike Freeman, okay, which is the over the church that she performed Yahweh at. That's her home church. He was on the video chat with her and on a video call with her and BLUEFACE. So she showed where they had exchanged the vows with the pastor. But you heard what Chrisean said. She said, I ain't send that paperwork off. And there's more to that video. Chrisean was like, I'm trying to see something. You know what I'm saying? And then BLUEFACE, she told him, she said that she didn't want to deal with him. And what he ended up doing, coming on this damn internet with a story time. And it wasn't even him doing a story time. It was these other chicks coming out doing story times, talking about they've known him since 2019, since 2018. Like all of these females coming out basically were around while she was around, playing in her face with the story time. So Chrisean was like, oh, you want to play? You want to play with me? You want to play with me? Oh, okay. So you want to play? Let's play. So Chrisean, she did a series of snap stories. And I'm saying this, like I said, I got to catch people up. This is not for those of us who know, because if you know, you know, I got to catch everybody up. So Chrisean did a series of snaps and gave her own story time. And in this series of snaps, Chrisean had some things to say. And we're going to listen to a couple of those things that she had to say right now.
Just because I don't show y'all everything doesn't mean everything ain't everything. You know what I'm talking about? Like, all right, for example, I just started streaming. I just started putting music out. Now I'm just about to start doing bookings. You know what I'm saying? I got new management, Kim.
And for those who don't know, the Kim she's speaking of is the official Kimberly Ross. Kimberly Ross officially on IG. And if you still don't know who Kimberly Ross is, she was formerly Kimberly Jones. Now, while we can't find no divorce decree, let me just come up here real quick. While we can't find no divorce decree, I'm going to say it again. Whoo! That get back a mug. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. And I said this on Straight Henny Media as well. Kim was around when Wack was learning all of that stuff that he was learning behind the scenes. Kim has also networked in her own way. Kim got connections. Kimberly was also BLUEFACE's first manager that got him all the way to the BET Awards, which now that Wack manages him, we see where he got all the way to Click Click City. It's not funny. But Wack could never get his hands on any of the Chrisean anything, never be attached to Chrisean in a positive way. Wack claims R&B as his wife. He no longer claims Kim, no longer deals with Kim. Kim is over here with Chrisean. Attack of the ex. They about to go up. And I'm going to tell you why I'm giggling. Because like I said yesterday, the way BLUEFACE was marketing Chrisean was not conducive for her. Okay? Where he was taking her to was not going to take her to another plateau. It was not going to bring her to a level of even getting acknowledged. The minute that she left BLUEFACE, when she, right after she had the baby, and she had that whole, I had to find a new bae. When she got on that song with my boo, what happened? She hit the Billboard Hot 100s at 98. May not be number one, but she had never gotten on the Billboard, ever, ever, ever. She got on the Billboard. Now she's with Kim. Kim is marketing her in a proper light. I feel like Kim is giving her that touch that she needs and helping to polish her up. Chrisean is on a whole different journey and a whole different timing. But I tell you what, like she said, Jesus still flipped the tables. So she said, I'm going to shake the table just a little bit before I flip it all the way over. That's what I got out of this. But let's continue to let her finish telling us her story time. Just this part.
It's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. Crazy stuff. I want to name drop right now, but I don't want to be on that end, right? So it got political too, right? On top of that, I'm treading lightly. I ain't flashing, nigga. I'm talking to, who I'm seeing. I mean, that's yet to come. If I let y'all have it, like, you know what I'm saying? But mark my words, he's going to try to do some evil stuff. He's been trying to do evil stuff since I broke up with him.
Now, let me just tell y'all this. Chrisean decided to let us have it, okay? But let me play the petty part.
We're not doing this no more. I'm not effing with you no more. He tried to do all the little story times to try to, like, cover up the fact that I'm not playing with him. It's cool. Because I got a story time for his ass. like
I said, Chrisean decided to let us have it. Because like I said, she called him out for that story time because that story time is embarrassing as hell. Okay, you gonna have these females come up here and say that they've been around and they've been doing things and this, that, and the third, and how you sending the money. Even though the chick that showed her Cash App, I would have never showed that Cash App because, baby, you say you was dealing with him since before the Blue Girls Club, and all you've managed to accumulate is under $3,000 from him. and you thought, oh, all right. Anyway, let's go. Where are we gonna go here? Let me do this before I show you what she showed us, because Chrisean gave a hell of a shout out.
Shout out to Kim. Kim, management. Shout out for her. Hey, yo, tag Miss Kim. Tag my manager in this live. That's why they mad. Kim the blueprint.
Kim is the blueprint. And of course, Chrisean did a whole interview with Angela Yee on lip service. And on the lip service, and I'm going to play this over here. If y'all have already seen it, I already know. If y'all are here and y'all are true Chrisean supporters, y'all don't even care. Y'all will listen to it a billion, million, gazillion times. But Chrisean, also, for those who like to say, she'll never hold herself accountable and she sits and plays victim all the time. Well, she got something to say about that.
It's hard to break free from certain things when they're right there in front of you.
Yeah, I really feel like, isn't it based on like what you allow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. It is.
So it won't. We can hold them accountable all day long, but if I hold myself accountable, I could have prevented all of that, honestly, and still got the money. Mm. I just didn't have like self-discipline. I didn't have boundaries. Like I didn't really follow the word. Like I was just having too much fun. Like
you was in the moment.
Yeah, and more so like not in the word. So.
Sometimes people also praise those things too, like the audience and
they
people's
praise
attention.
The recognition. Mm-hmm. Me, I was praising God the whole time, but kind of like, I don't know. It's like you could, like how, okay, basically how I met him was during a TV show. Mm-hmm. I'm in college. You feel me? I'm at like 200,000 followers. Okay. It boosted up whatever I was trying to go after. Okay. Cool. Where I did was I didn't set these boundaries to keep it corrected. Mm-hmm. I kind of like turned in whatever he was. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily like it's wrong for him to, but for me, it was wrong for me. It was wrong for me. Like I was supposed to, I can't even say how I hear it in my head, but
tell me how your family's reacting with all of this now with you. Because you come from a big family, so it's like I told you so.
No, they knew like it was gonna click.
Okay, they knew that eventually you would
click.
Get it.
Like when they seen like the greatness and stuff like that, and they see me top athlete, this and that to take in disrespect, but. I'm telling you, it's all what you allow. Like I was allowing disrespect. Exactly. That's me disrespecting myself before. You feel me? So it was one of those. And I'm a loyal person. If you change my life, I don't know how to like
just leave you for dead.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna remember what you did for me. Like, so I had to separate maturity with the truth. It's a lot of dissecting.
Right.
For real.
And also being accountable for what you allow gives you more control over yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely. To know that you can control what happens. You can. Instead of feeling like it's your fault this happened.
Yeah, like don't ever try to victimize or point your finger. I used to do that because you expect something better. And it's like you can't expect nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I don't know. It's like I can't even. Like my appetite different.
Her appetite different. Now, that sounds like accountability to me. And we've gone over this. Like I said on my other channel, we've gone over this about the accountability. But people like to say that she doesn't take accountability. She totally took accountability. She was very self-aware of the things that she took. And like I've said over there, I'm going to say over here, this is an example of healthy accountability when you take on the actions that you've done in a situation and you own them and you apply them to the situation and you don't necessarily focus on the outer parts. Okay, because it's so easy to do that. Now, it's not easy to hold the mirror up to yourself, especially when you don't want to hear the things that are being said. Got to think about that. Like, for example, you don't want to say, yeah, I've got a short temper. I've got a quick, slick mouth. And you know, you don't want to admit to character flaws, but I can tell you myself, I know that I have a bad attitude sometimes because I suffer from anxiety, and that's not an excuse, but my anxiety shows up in anger and aggression. I know those things. I try to check those things. It's something that I work on. We are all work in progress every single day. Okay, I can work on my communication skills a little bit better at times as well. I can own those things because I'm very self-aware. I'm very self-aware of things. It's when you're intentional with reflecting in that it begins to be impactful on you. In every situation, it takes two people. It takes two people. And everybody plays a part. So she's taking accountability for her actions by saying, by allowing the disrespect, by not having boundaries, I was disrespecting myself. Instead of just saying, he was disrespecting me. He was disrespecting me. No, I allowed this to happen because I was not respecting me properly. And I salute her for that. But now, baby, are y'all ready for the coup de grace? For those of y'all who have not seen this, brace yourself because, baby, we going in. So, let me turn the music off. I put the music on there. They didn't put the music on there. But if you don't know what you are looking at, honey, this right here where the arrow is pointing is the Crazy in Love pendant. Remember when they did the show, her and Blue did the show Crazy in Love, and they got the chains made and they both had the Crazy in Love chains. And that was like the bat signal. If you know, you know. I'm going to tell you right now. True Chrisean supporters know the bat signals that let us know, oh man, she back with Blue. That chain was one of them. Or is it this way? Is it this way, y'all, or is it this way? Whichever way it is. That Crazy in Love pendant let us know, dang, she back. That tooth is coming out. That's another sign that let us know. He's back. This is him. He is an NCAA college basketball player. He goes by the name of Fiji. I don't really want to get into all of that, giving his name and all of that stuff yet. But we will because we have it. Okay. He is in college right now. Business major, aspires to be an engineer, has a future, has a head on his shoulders. Child, but this was not the end of it because it seems like, oh, that's his chain now because there he is again with the chain on. And here they are, boot up, da-dee-da-da, boot up, da-da, boot up. And he got the chain on, da-dee-da-da, boot up. Ooh. And there they are in the back seat of the car getting caught on camera. I'm sorry. Out on a date night and the whole 9 yards. Yes, I don't want to give too much away right now because, you know, we still have a whole nother live to get into a little later on, but BLUEFACE is sliding down the walls. Nurse, bring the crash cart. He don't went into cardiac arrest. This is the big one, Elizabeth. This is the big one. Because listen, let me tell you something. And yes, let's make sure that we say this over here as well. Just because she is dating somebody does not mean that she is sleeping with somebody. Okay. She has said several times that she is celibate, meaning she is not having relations with anybody. Kissing is not a sin. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where it says you cannot kiss anybody. And Blue's supposed to come home in July. Now, the website says he ain't coming home till December. But he has announced he coming home in July. I don't know if he gonna make it to July. Let me just say this to you. When a man is incarcerated and he's sitting up in Click City, the level of petty that he tries to get on pales in comparison to the level of petty that you could be, the level of get back that you could be. But I don't even really feel like this is like all a get back. It's like I could show you better than I could tell you that I could move on. When she was in that interview with Angela Yee, she was saying how she was talking about the tattoo on her cheek and she was trying to get a cover up. But on the live stream, the guy told her it's too dark for her to get a cover up over. The tattoo on her face is an amazing job. Like it's a portrait for real. And she said, if I can't get a cover up, it's just a part of me. She doesn't want to do laser. And in doing laser, there's always, the possibility that some is going to be left behind. And this is her face. So she said, I've accepted that it's a part of me if I can't get the cover up. But let me tell you how a cover up ain't stopping nothing. It don't look like that cover up is stopping anything. I'm just saying. What'd she say? What'd you say, Sway? Sway says she gonna drive BLUEFACE to the Medline. But I'm just saying, this girl stood by his side, was holding him down, was holding it down, and she gets met with disrespect. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know if y'all have ever had the disservice of rocking with somebody, doing bids with a person, and then they come home and they show their ass as if you hadn't been this thing for them, as if you hadn't taken on certain responsibilities. I'm not saying I have. I'm just saying that this is what happens, and that's the story of a lot of females where they hold this man down for months, for years, okay? A year or better, holds him down, money on the books, money on the phone, letters going out, pictures going out, visits, the packages, the whole 9 yards, while holding down everything else the best you can. And then he comes home, and it don't matter if it's the next month or the next year. At some point in time, that level of loyalty gets met with disrespect. Let me just say this to all the fellas out there from a female. When a female is holding you down, that's her showing you loyalty. That's not her showing you that she's stupid, that she's a pushover, that you can get over on her. That's a down ass chick. Y'all be talking about y'all want riders. That's a down ass chick. And so she's holding you down. And that's not saying that you are hopelessly devoted to her and you owe her your life. What that's saying is that deserves a certain level of respect and deserves a certain level of care and acknowledgement. Like, don't just look at that as somebody you got over on in order to get through your bid, especially if this was your girl prior to you going and getting locked up. Like, I feel like, and this is just me going off the top of my head, I feel like a lot of times when people get incarcerated, there's the wifey, there's the side chicks, and all of them that are vying to be that down ass chick for him. But eventually everybody drops away. They show their true colors. They're there when you close. But when you start getting up north, it changes. The more the needs come, it changes. And it's a difference between I can't do it because I got this going on versus I don't want to do it because I ain't taking that on with you. And ladies, I feel like this. If your man was out here doing things and taking care of things and he ends up in Click City, That is not the time for you to decide that you want to deuces and walk away from him. No, you are supposed to step up and be there. See, if you want to walk this criminal life, if you want to play out here in this criminal life, you got to be able to walk in the criminal life. And there's certain things that just need to be understood. Certain things shouldn't be spoken that should be understood. But it seems like in this day and age with this generation coming up, these things are not being told. First of all, stop going out there and getting yourself into situations that are going to land you into click city. Let's have that conversation first, okay? But if it happens to happen, there's a certain level of respect and loyalty that I personally, you don't have to agree with me, but I feel like the situation should have. That I'm just saying, I feel like it should have that. And it would ease a lot of the tensions going on. Period. But anyway, Chrisean is out here. She went on her date night last night. We will get into her date night when we get on to Straight Hitting Media. We'll get all into that date night. But I feel like Blue violated all the way around the board. Then not only that, let's not forget that his mammy and his manager out here with all of these effed up narratives and all types of crap going on, hating on her, talking about her son and all types of stuff. Let me just say this to you. No matter what's going on with her son, that's none of our business. We don't have to take care of that kid. We don't. That's her son. We aren't the ones that have to deal with anything. Whether it be him getting ready to go through his terrible tools or whatever. So stop. Like, I don't understand when we became a society where it was okay to talk about kids. Like, I come from the era of kids are off the table. Like, you talk about my kid, it's on. Like, that's fighting words. You don't talk about my mama. You don't talk about my kids. You don't talk about my granny. I mean, I didn't let people talk about my daddy because I was a daddy's girl. But you understand what I'm saying. There's certain things that were fighting words. That right there. And then you have it, the grandmother's out here doing this. The grandmother. Now, when the grandmother came up on my platform, she didn't want to answer the question, but I had to back her down into answering the question about, would you allow your kids around somebody who was talking about them the way that you are? Out of hurt, out of anger, out of spite, out of whatever it is, they getting online and they spreading these narratives about your child. Would you allow your child around them? And she said no. And then she tried to say, but she shouldn't want, I'm scared to be around the kid. Well, she's probably scared to have her kid around you. Most people with logic and common sense, if you don't like my kid, you don't like me. If my kid can't come to your house, I can't come to your house. If my kids ain't welcome, I'm not welcome. You got a problem with my kids, you got a problem with me. Period. So at the end of the day, he's allowed a lot of this to go on. You understand? So it's disrespect on disrespect on disrespect. And then when he get mad, what does he do? Disrespect the child. And that was the whole premise of her coming on her Snapchat over the weekend, is because she was saying, look, I'm not dealing with this dude. I'm not answering his phone calls no more. So y'all, whenever he get mad at me, the first thing he want to do is do some evil stuff to my son. And, I'm not having it. I'm not having it either. I'm letting you know that. I'm not having it. As a mom, I'm not having it. As a parent, I'm not having it. Leave the baby out the chat, period. Now, this is why we call him Lucifer over here. I don't know what you're talking about. Nah, B, that was when we scared of y'all. We not scared no more. I don't know what you mean by that. Clarify, please. So, yeah. I feel like, Blueface, you brought this on yourself, whatever's happening. Plus, you got to remember, this girl is 25 years old. For those who are out here saying, I thought she was a Christian. So she can't date. She can't have fun because she a Christian now. Well, she's always been, but she's walking her walk now. She can't have fun. She can't go out on dates. She can't live her life. Oh, he was timed out. Okay, because I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. That's why I was like, can you clarify before I say something? Okay, right. Lex says he should have never started a hate train. Once it's put out for the world to see, ain't no coming back. That's a fact. Let me go ahead and let me check some of these. We got a few super chats. Weta, what's popping? Weta, she said, those Storytime 304s need to go do a wellness check on him, or he done with them already, because he can't get petty with Chrisean. Good job, Chrisean. Thank you for the super chat. Trust says, if the roles were reversed, would he have held her down? That is a good question, Trust. Thank you for the super chat. That is a great question. And it is a debate that goes on to this day. Let me just say this before I get into Cheryl's comment. One of the things that Papoose said when he would go up there to go visit Rim was that the visiting floor was practically empty. But when you go to the male jails to go for a visit, those jails be packed. And I know you got to get there early to stand on line. Sometimes, like where I lived at in New York, the county jail, yeah, you had to get there early, and it didn't matter if it was rain, sleet, snow, hail. If the visit was open and you was trying to get on that VI floor, you had to be there early if you wanted to be one of the first ones in the door, so that they're one of the first ones that come down and you could maximize your visit. You had to be there at the crack of dawn, standing outside an hour, 2 hours ahead of the visit, just so that you could get inside. Then when you get inside, the VI room is so packed, sometimes they had to open the other side, which is usually designated for the female visits. They had to open the other side for the male visits. So when Papoose said, oh, when I would go visit Rim, the women's visiting floor was nothing like the men's floor. It was practically empty. I don't remember his words verbatim, but I remembered him saying that people weren't going up there to visit the women the way they do the men. So that's a great question, but I could also tell you, based off of BLUEFACE's character, I believe he would have gone there, but he wouldn't have held her down the way she held him down. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. What BLUEFACE thought while violating and disrespecting her, that it was okay? Not. Thank you, Cheryl, for the super chat. You are absolutely correct. That's not sliding. But anyway, we're going to keep our eyes on Chrisean, because it seems like she's on some BLUEFACE. I had to find a new bae. Yeah, I with Fiji. That's what she say. Anyway, now let's get to the main event. If you were here for the Chrisean, please stay for the Bricc baby, because we are going to get a little bit into this Bricc baby stuff, because honey child. Now, like I said in the beginning of this, if y'all remember correctly, or if you have been keeping up with any of this stuff, Bricc baby was permanently detained. Okay, let me get my screen how I like my screen. And no, I'm not going to put the watermark up. I don't even care right about now. I do, but I don't at the same damn time, because people are going to people. Well, no, I am going to put my watermark up. What am I talking about? They can screenshot that. But my watermark is going there. All right. So if you remember this document right here, I think that's too dark. Okay, that's a little lighter. That's a little better. All right. So if you remember this document right here, this is the document that I showed you where it was saying right here on this line. Let me see. Let me get my highlighter. Okay, this line right here. Ooh, that's a horrible line. But where I highlighted, let's zoom in. This is where it had said that Bricc was being permanently detained. All right. So then Bricc decided that he was going to go and he was going to make the request, if y'all remember this document, that he was making the request that his bail be reconsidered. All right. Because he had a family member that was willing to put up their home as collateral for him to be able to make bail. Well, baby, after reading these court docs right here that I'm about to show y'all, after getting into his court docs and reading over them, child, this is a mess. That's all I want to say. This is a mess. Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question, and this seems like, you know, Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all want me to read Bricc Baby's paperwork. So before we get the response as to if people want me to read Bricc Baby paperwork or not, let me just tell you, give you a little breakdown of what we about to get into. So the government, the prosecution is arguing that Bricc Baby is a repeat violent offender and a serial rule breaker, which we already read in one of those other court documents, and an ongoing danger to the community and his own family. Yes, because if you haven't heard, Bricc is a danger to his own family, y'all, and it's crazy. And even after previous arrests and convictions, they oppose his release on any terms, including the proposed secured property bond by his mother. So now we know the person who was putting up the bond. Oh, I see all the Henny glasses going up. Y'all are like, roll that beautiful bean footage, Henny, on that paperwork. So now we know who it is that was putting up the property for him, and it was his mom. His mom was actually willing to put her property up for him to be able to come home on bond. But the government is not having it, all right? They have him on all types of stuff. They have him on wiretaps. Remember the guns and ammunition that was found in his home? Maybe they using that as well. So, and then the podcast, remember the last podcast between him and Loose Cannon? Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into all of this. Okay. We're going to start with the introduction. And Ari, hold on. Oh no, I don't have my cloth. Wait a minute. She said, good job. Ari told me, y'all, that I need to put my damn glasses on. All right. I better wear them. So we going to get studious. You know what? Let me get full librarian on y'all. Librarian girl. Even though I know that's not librarian, but whatever. We going to use it. You know that you feel like you changed my world. Boom. Now, y'all can't see my lock messy bun, but can y'all see it now? All right, let's go. Y'all didn't come here for that. Y'all came here for this. So let me go ahead and let me make my screens appropriate for me where I can see y'all and I can see the screen, because no, I'm not in the Henny studios right now. I see y'all still throwing the Henny glasses. All right, so it says, defendant Zaire Mitchell, which we are going to refer to him as Bricc Baby because that is who we know him as. So defendant Bricc Baby asked the courts to be released pending trial, arguing that a secured property bond is sufficient to reasonably assure his appearance and the safety of any other person or the community. To the contrary, defendant's criminal history shows a dedication to crime and recidivism. Now, you know, I usually look this up ahead of time because I do not proclaim myself to know all of these damn words. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look up recidivism. It means a tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend, recidivism. So now we done learned a new word today, recidivism. All right. No matter what the consequences. Moreover, his conduct during the investigation in this case shows the same dedication to a life of crime and inability to comply with the rules of the law. Baby, they said there is no rule that we can put on this man that would actually cause him to sit down and behave and be a productive citizen in the community while he awaits trial, because he just refuses to do so. Okay. The indictment first alleged that defendant in shooting at alleges that defendant in shooting at individuals possessed ammunition expelled from a firearm on July 12th of 2022. Then on June 21st of 2023, defendant was captured on an intercepted call arguing with his significant other, in which she repeatedly recounted that defendant had pointed a gun at her while she was holding his infant child. Let that linger in the air for a second. Let's read that part again. On June 21st, 2023, defendant was captured on an intercepted call arguing with his significant other, in which she repeatedly recounted that defendant had pointed a gun at her while she was holding his infant child. A danger to his family. Execution of a search warrant at defendant's home followed, and 3 firearms, including an AK-47 style gun and over 125 rounds of ammunition, were found. Now pause. Didn't WAC come on the internet talking about this and have this information? And this information was in a sealed indictment, and we didn't see no paperwork on exactly the details of everything. Am I bugging? Let me know if I'm bugging, or if y'all heard the details about this AK-47 prior to, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping because there's a morass of false statements that he be putting out there, but then there's a lot of snitch that he be doing too. So y'all let me know in the comments. Let me continue to read and I'm gonna come back and check on y'all. All right. All right. After law enforcement seized those weapons and arrested the defendant, he continued undeterred. In March of 2024, defendant erupted at his place of employment, threatening individuals in the room and online with unaliving, fighting security, and later admitting to possessing a firearm during the incident. Throughout 2024, defendant made claims online of unaliving people and threatening to do the same to others. Then on March 18th, 2025, the day before his arrest in this case, defendant was on live video podcast with someone whom he had previously threatened to unalive. During the podcast, sitting across from that person, defendant brandished a firearm in his waistband. When defendant was arrested the following day, an unsecured firearm with multiple magazines of live ammunition matching that seen in defendant's waistband on the podcast were found where defendant was staying with his young child. Now pause, first of all, before we even get there to the fact that, oh, no jumper. Yep, here we go with no jumper again. Before we go there, I would like to know how they know it was the same firearm, because we never saw the whole firearm. Let me come over here and check on y'all in this chat. Okay, so y'all said, wow, this is crazy. He looks like he is done in the system. That's what most guys do to women that come from prison. It always happens. Oh, you're talking about, you must be a little behind. Wow, man's nuts. You're never late. You right on time. Please leave him in jail. Pay me a yeah, I mean, said, had the Yankee Doodle peeking out his waistband live just hours before the feds cuffed him. That's a fact. Damn, just self-snitching, shaking my head. Y'all got to learn from these court docs that they watching and listening. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Wonder Woman. So yeah. But we all saw that when he was, and we saw Loose Cannon's face look down and look at him. But we've also heard that no jumper is supposed to be a place when, didn't they say they, and it's not allowed. Oh, all right. All of the above conduct occurred after years of violent crimes, firearm possession, evading charges, and troubling conduct disseminated throughout the internet. Defendants' lengthy periods of incarceration and supervision have not deterred him from continuing to commit dangerous crimes. There is no reason to believe this arrest will be any different, and the safety of the public demands that defendant remain detained. Now, remember, I had told y'all that this man was going in, coming out, getting on probation. He would be on parole and he would violate probation and parole and then be put back on probation. Like, Whoo, that get back. I don't know who this get back is for, but baby. So here's the statements of facts, okay? Defendant is intercepted discussing criminal activity, including pointing a firearm at his partner and child, okay? In the first several months of 2023, defendant was intercepted on multiple court-authorized Title III wiretaps, both on his phone and his associates' phones. On multiple calls, defendant discussed criminal activity. Throughout March of 2023, defendant discussed how the mother of one of his children accused him of pointing a gun at her, and defendant claimed it was a lie. But on June 20th, 2023, a second person accused defendant of the same conduct. That day, defendant's significant other, KC, stated, "You pulled a gun out on me with your daughter. You pulled a gun out on me in front of your effing daughter. You pointed a gun at me. You're a bitch ass." Defendant responded, "I don't give a F, nigga. I don't give a F, bitch. Ever since I've been with you." The following day, defendant argued with KC again about her picking up her daughter, ordering her to take the effing baby outside, "You stupid bitch." Oh, we wellin'. I could cuss now. "You sit in front of the house, you dumb asshole." KC told defendant she could not walk or drive because defendant fucked up her leg, and that he was the one who hit on people. Defendant responded, "Man, on 6-0, shut the fuck up, bitch. I just told you, nigga, you keep playing with a nigga. You just want to see a nigga." Defendant told KC to leave and said that they were done. On the same day, KC again stated, "It's so fucked up that you can't even apologize for the shit that you do. You never apologized for treating me bad, pulling a gun out on me like this shit is cool for you. But you want me to go do shit for you. You talking about you don't want me. Shit you got going on, but you gonna pull a gun out on me and my child, right?" Defendant responded on 6-0, "Yeah, and I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't. On 6-0 Crip, nigga." To answer your question, because Michelle asked, right here in the document, it explains 6-0 is a reference to defendant's self-proclaimed gang, the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crip. What I'm also keeping in my head is the fact that this dude be on them perks and be coming down and all of that on them perks. It's an unstable, the mind, the mental is unstable already. All right, firearms and ammunition are recovered from defendant's home, okay? Following the above mentioned calls, law enforcement obtained search warrants for defendant's home, car, and person. Inside his home, law enforcement found the 3 firearms and ammunition listed in count 2 of the indictment: a .380 caliber pistol, a 9mm caliber pistol, and a 5.56 by 45 caliber assault rifle style firearm, and 125 rounds of ammunition. Defendant tried to drop some of the firearm and ammunition from his balcony into the courtyard of his apartment complex. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, I should not be laughing. But if you drop a firearm off the balcony, wouldn't it sound like it's not going to make a soft thud? It's going to make, and then you're throwing a firearm off the balcony, which means that at any point in time, that firearm could go off. The mental not stable. Say no to drugs, kids, even prescription ones. Okay, so he's trying to throw the firearms and the ammunition over the balcony of the apartment complex. Okay, just as he previously stated that he would on other intercepted. Listen, you said on a phone that was tapped that you would throw them over the balcony. So now when the popo come knocking at your dodo, you do exactly what you said, which means that somebody was already there waiting for you to do it. Because this was premeditated. No, that was just the baby in the table, okay? Why it's crazy what my eyes land on when I open the chat. Let's continue. I can't, okay? Defendant is recorded on intercepted calls making other admissions. So he just on this phone yapping, okay? Throughout the remaining period of the wiretaps, defendant made countless assertions or threats pertaining to violent conduct and weapon possession. For example, we got examples. Of course, we have examples. On February 20th, 2023, defendant stated that he did not respect the elders in the gang and would pop anyone on 6-0. Oh my God. Bricc, please. There's just some things that you just don't do. There's some things you don't say. So now he done disrespected all the elders of his set. So all the elder 6-0s, he said he'd pop any one of them. Listen, I didn't say it. He said it. I'm just repeating it, but god damn, nigga, you. Let's continue. On March 6, 2023, defendant was on the phone with his mother, the proposed surety, which is the person who said they was putting their house up for him, right? And found the mother of his child outside of his house. He told his mother that the mother of his child was in gangland and wanted to expire early. He just don't care. He trying to unalive and pop the top of his baby mamas. What the mind is unstable. It be them Percocets. It be them Percocets. Defendant asked the mother of his child if she wanted to die in front of her son. Let me explain something to you. When I read these, I just skim through them before I come live. On 6-0, as defendant's mother screamed at him, well, he was saying in front of her son on 6-0, as defendant's mother screamed at him to stop because he may be being recorded. Now, I don't know if she was talking about on the phone, if she was talking about the baby mama recording him, but your mama told you, see, not listening. You was just told by your mama that you might be being recorded. And it looks like your calls were monitored and recorded. On March 6th of 2023, defendant told KC that the police were acting stupid, that he was tired of doing what they told him to do. Now, what you mean by that, right? You was tired of doing what they told you to do. And that he was ready to shoot the mother of his child. Later that day, defendant told another unidentified male that he was going to unalive the mother of his child on 6-0. What is it with him and his... Yo, if you got a baby mama by this dude, you're not safe. It ain't safe. Now, we done heard daughter. We done heard son. Does anybody know how many kids Bricc Baby got? Michelle said, I want all my hours back. I watched him interviewing people. She want a refund. Adam, she wants a refund of all her hours, okay? She wants it broken down into an hourly fee and paid to her, all right? Then it says on March 28, 2023, defendant said that he would body slam the mother of his child. He would body slam the mother of his child on her neck to stop playing with him. In the same call, defendant discussed how it felt to unalive someone and have to go to school and play basketball the next day. Well, that sounds like some Baby Joker-ish right there. Y'all know about Baby Joker, don't y'all? Or do I have to go and pull on Baby Joker and give y'all a video on him? If you know who Baby Joker is, throw a Henny glass in the chat. If you want to know about Baby Joker, put a 2 in the chat, because Baby Joker was a star athlete at school, and you know. Defendant continues to threaten violence and carry firearms. In addition to intercepted calls online, defendant continued to threaten violence, carry firearms, and discuss both. For example, on March of 2024, defendant crashed out at his place of employment, threatening to shoot people and eventually fighting a security guard. Defendant later admitted in separate interviews that he had a firearm on him during the altercation and that he brought his daughter with him to the studio. Y'all remember this? Y'all remember that? In June of 2024, defendant argued over the phone with an individual and claimed he had unalived more people than the other had fought. Defendant stated that he swore it to be true and on his 4 babies. So he's got 4 kids, which he repeated many times. And later, attempting to downplay this claim, defendant stated that even if he had 1 body, okay, that would be more than the other person had fights. On March 18th of 2025, the same individual whom defendant previously threatened and claimed to have more skulls than he had squabbles, joined the same podcast. During the filming, defendant showed that he had a handgun in his waistband, which we all remember this right here. We remember this right here. Okay. Defendant is charged with repeatedly possessing a firearm and ammunition despite numerous felony convictions. Defendant is now charged with multiple counts of possessing firearms and ammunition in violation of 18 USC, which is the United States Penal Code, violation code 18. The first charge stems from defendant shooting 3 bullets in a business parking lot in July of 2022 to ward off would-be robbers. The second charge involves all the firearms and ammunition found at his home in June of 2023. Both of these charges followed 5 felony convictions from 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, and 2020, respectively. While the pretrial service report includes a longer criminal history with out-of-state convictions. Okay. Morning of defendant's instant arrest. He had an unsecured firearm and ammunition in reach of his young child. On March 19, 2025, law enforcement arrested defendant on the felon in possession charges in the indictment at his residence in Gardena, California, with his significant other and his young child. Well, it doesn't say his young child, it just says and young child. Agents found a Glock 26 firearm and 17-round Glock magazine with 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition, as well as another magazine and 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Defendant kept all of that unsecured despite residing with his significant other and child that he had already threatened with a firearm before, despite being arrested with all of the firearms and ammunitions at his residence in June of 2023, despite his many felony convictions prohibiting him from possessing firearms or ammunition, and despite California Penal Code 323-110 prohibiting possession of large capacity magazines, i.e. those holding more than 10 rounds. Defendant's criminal history is full of violence and supervision of violence and supervision violations. Remember, I was telling y'all, see, y'all don't listen to me. I told y'all when I read those papers, y'all need to go back. I need to make a Bricc Baby playlist because I've been on this since Bricc got picked up, right? And I told y'all then, I said, Bricc has violated probation and parole. But anyway, let's read. As shown in the pretrial services report and indictment itself, defendant's multiple firearm and ammunition possession charges in this case are far from defendant's first crime. 2006 narcotics and obstruction of law enforcement. Almost 20 years ago, defendant earned his first felony from a narcotics distribution conviction, while he was also charged with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers by use of threats or violence. He was sentenced to 10 years probation and given a second chance with community service and schooling conditions. 2010, reckless evading involving assault with a deadly weapon. In 2010, defendant's criminal charges escalated with a charge for assault with a deadly weapon with great bodily injury, likely a conviction for evading a peace officer with disregard for safety. Defendant was sentenced to 365 days in jail and 3 years probation and a violation of which resulted to 2 years of confinement. According to the certified conviction records and police reports for the additional crime, police saw a sex worker enter defendant's car, and defendant then sped off upon seeing police. Defendant led police on a high-speed chase through stop signs and red lights. At some point, defendant pushed the female out of the moving vehicle. The victim landed on her face, and the defendant ran over her thigh with his car. The victim later stated that she asked to be let out multiple times, but defendant refused until he later threw her out. The victim also stated that defendant said he had something he needed to get rid of during the chase and threw a handgun out the window. Baby, you done picked this girl up for a good time, but not for this. Oh my God. So you picking up a sex worker and the police, whoop, whoop, and you go on a high-speed chase and the girl want to get out. So you push her out, and in pushing her out the vehicle, she land on her face and you run over her thigh. And you tell her you got to get rid of something and throw a handgun out the car. Why you telling her that? You don't know this girl. On her face, yo. Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm just sitting here like, yo, this nigga out of control. He's out of control. Out of control. Like, this is crazy. 2012, 2014 narcotics convictions. Upon his release in 2012, defendant was arrested for transportation of controlled substances and ultimately sentenced to 365 days in jail and 3 years probation. I think this is the airport thing. I'm not sure. The probation was later revoked after defendant admitted to violating it. You admitted to, okay. 5 months after that arrest, but before the sentence, he was arrested for the same crime in Nevada and ultimately sentenced to 4 years probation. See, probation. In 2023, he was arrested for, and by 2014, convicted of possession of a controlled substance. Defendant later received a misdemeanor relief for that conviction, but he thereafter violated his probation. In 2016, criminal threats conviction. On August 2nd of 2016, defendant was convicted of criminal threats and sentenced to 2 years in state prison. Although he was given yet another opportunity with a suspension of the execution of the sentence and 3 years formal probation, he violated that probation multiple times, even receiving a no bail bench warrant for his failure to appear for a violations hearing. 2020 robbery conviction. On October 7th of 2020, defendant was convicted of robbery and sentenced to 6 years imprisonment. This arrest also featured a high-speed chase and barricade incident that defendant glamorized in his music video. Misdemeanor arrest and other conduct. As a juvenile, defendant was charged with carrying a concealed weapon, robbery, and minor in possession of a weapon. He was further arrested for narcotic sales, many failures to appear in multiple states, obstruction, multiple felon in possession charges, false statements, flight, assault with a deadly weapon, multiple fugitive from justice warrants, inflicting corporal injury on a spouse, criminal threats, and multiple robberies. Defendant also has misdemeanor convictions and an infraction involving arrest for taking a vehicle without consent, driving on a suspended license, and domestic violence. Defendant's fraud crimes. Defendant's crimes do not pertain only to violence and weapons possession. Defendant is currently under investigation for fraudulently applying for FEMA benefits by claiming to be a renter of a property in Pasadena, California, destroyed in the Eden fire in January of 2020. Moreover, in his digital devices seized during his previous arrest, defendant was in possession of multiple social security numbers, addresses, and other personal identifying information that he had bought on WhatsApp. Defendant even had a photograph of a driver's license with his photograph, but a different name, address, and state. FEMA fraud, identity theft. Child. Defendant was detained based on risk of flight and danger. On March 19th of 2025, this court ordered defendant detained pending trial based on risk of non-appearance and danger to the community. This court found detention to be appropriate based on 1, defendant's history and characteristics, including his criminal record of fugitive arrest and violating parole and probation conditions, as well as insufficient bail resources, and 2, defendant's safety risk due to the nature of seriousness of the instant charges and his criminal history, which includes numerous convictions, some of which were violated. Bro, all of this is the reason why. The argument, okay? We're getting to the argument. Legal standards for pretrial detention. A defendant must detain the defendant must be detained pending trial, where no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the appearance of the person as required and the safety of any other person and the community. Detention is thus appropriate for the defendant who is either a danger to the community or a flight risk, which they have said he is both, okay? The Bail Reform Act maintains an individualized evaluation guide by factors articulated, okay? Those factors are the nature and circumstance of the offense charged, including whether the offense is a crime of violence, the weight of the evidence against the defendant's character, physical and mental conditions, family and community ties, past conduct, history relating to drug and alcohol abuse, and criminal history. Well, guess what? We know from reading this, his ties to the community, his family, well, you willing to unalive your kids' mamas. Your baby mamas ain't safe. If your baby mamas ain't safe, who is? Who is? Who is? It already shows his mental condition combined with the substance abuse that he be on. Anyway, the last one, the fourth one, is the nature and seriousness of the danger to any person or the community that would be posed by the defendant's release. Well, I can tell you this, his baby mamas and his children definitely are not safe. Sorry. I'm going off of this according to the documents, according to the court documents, and this is evidence that was used against him already. So this has already happened, which is why I feel comfortable with talking about this, because this is the reason why he is not getting out on bail. This is why. Defendant should remain detained. Okay? All of the factors justifying ordering defendant to remain detained pending trial. The nature and circumstances of the offense. The nature and circumstances of the defendant's offenses unequivocally weigh in favor of detention. Defendant's offenses: possessing multiple firearms on multiple occasions and over 125 rounds of ammunition, some of which he fired, are serious. The defendant fired at would-be robbers in a business parking lot, and less than a year later was found with firearms after purportedly pointing them at his partner and child, only confirmed that defendant should not be possessing firearms, not to mention his multiple prior felony convictions, each of which alone prohibit him from possessing them. His continued possession of another firearm and even more ammunition at home with his child during his last arrest only further corroborates the need for his detention. Moreover, defendant faces a statutory maximum of 15 years for each count. Damn. As currently charged, due to defendant's extensive criminal history, likely rendering him in criminal history category 5, their career criminaling him. And with enhancements for the type and number of firearms and obstruction of justice, defendant faces a likely guideline range of 92 to 115 month imprisonment, based on a total offense level of 24. Below are guidelines calculated based on information currently known. So it says base offense level would be a 20 plus 2 for 3 firearms and obstruction. That's 2 more. So that gives him the 24. Okay. The severity of the potential penalties involve augments defendant's risk of non-appearance. So they're saying because of all of this, he has a reason to not appear. Okay. The bail-based risk of non-appearance, where defendant faces fraud charges that expose him to a range of just about 57 or 71 months imprisonment. As courts have recognized, such a lengthy sentence provides a significant incentive to flee. Now let's read this right here. It says, as stated, defendant discussed on an intercepted call placing his firearm in a bag and dropping them onto the courtyard outside of his apartment, which he then attempted to do when law enforcement arrived. So that's what he did. He put them into a bag and dropped them over. Okay. But it doesn't matter. Like, you put it in a bag, it's still a possibility that that gun could have hit that pavement and it could have went off. Arrived. And then it says, as warranted in sentencing defendant for knowing possession of a firearm as a convicted felon, where defendant asked his wife to hide or get rid of firearm found at the residence. All right, so now let's get back into why he would flee. So we already said that based off of all the time that he's facing, that gives him a significant incentive to flee. And given defendant's criminal history category, he is facing a guideline sentencing nearly 10 years. Okay. Explaining that facing the much greater, okay, so then that's when they get into United States versus Townsend, explaining that facing the much graver penalties possible under the present indictment, the defendants have an even greater incentive to consider flight, and nothing that electronic monitoring can't assure prevention of. So they're saying that based off of the United States versus Townsend, they don't even feel that putting an electronic monitor on him is still going to be, something that would deter him away from trying to flee. They feel like he would. Then they have United States versus Gonzalez Claudio. Okay, it is entirely reasonable to conclude that a risk of flight is more likely in circumstances where evidence indicates that defendant faces a substantial risk of being convicted of serious pending charges and receiving significant punishment. Defendant's previous evading and flight from law enforcement, as well as his repeated fugitive arrests, failure to appear, and parole violation confirms the same. In sum, the nature and circumstances of defendant's offenses demonstrate that he is at risk of both danger and non-appearance. Okay, the weight of the evidence that defendant committed the charged offenses is overwhelming and cannot be ignored in assessing defendant's risk of danger and non-appearance in this case. Given the nature of the crimes and the strength of the government's case, we find that the government has met its burden of showing by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. Emphases are added, okay? Defendant was captured on audio recording discussing firearms and other crimes for months. When his home was searched, those firearms were recovered. Defendant was previously captured on surveillance footage where shell casings were later recovered at defendant's location in the video, showing that he fired them. Evidence of defendant's continued possession of firearms is likewise powerful, including the night before his arrest on a podcast video and as found in his home during the arrest. All the evidence in this case conclusively shows defendant's continued possession of firearms and use of prohibited firearms, okay? The facts that, so then they use United States versus Barone as a part of their defense, okay? And it says that, in fact, the Barone planned violent crimes signals a degree of dangerousness unlikely to be deterred by bail release conditions. Accordingly, the weight of the evidence which this court shall consider favors defendant's continued detention. So that's what they're using as their evidence. And then there's another note here, down here. We're going to read that. It says nothing in U.S. Code 18 endorses assigning relative weight to a statutory factors, and this court should decline to do so. The statement that the strength of the evidence is deserving of the least weight originated, but only in the context of applying the factor of the significant case. So they're just, I'm just going to keep on going because I just want to get through this because I have some thoughts that I want to get out of my head. They're going back into the history and characteristics of Bricc Baby. And it says Bricc Baby's history and characteristics also favor detention. Indeed, Bricc Baby's involvement in multiple violent offenses renders him particularly dangerous to the community. Okay. And then United States versus Lomax, it says affirming district court reliance on defendants' robbery crimes were a danger to the community and affirming sentence. The evidence of his violence and threats of violence is all exacerbated by defendant's apparent continued access of firearms as detailed above. Okay. The recording of defendant discussing uncharged conduct detailed above casts his already damning criminal history in an even more troubling light. Defendant's many convictions, along with his recent involvement in firearm offenses, further establish the danger he possesses to the community if released. Additionally, defendant's headlong flight from law enforcement on multiple occasions and countless supervision violations only reinforces his danger and his incapability with pretrial release, as it does his attempt to rid himself of firearms when law enforcement searched the location. For all of those reasons, defendant's history and characteristics support continued detention. All right. Now, they're just like repeating and reiterating why all of this stuff why he should not be let out. And in the conclusion, it says this court shall therefore order defendants continued detention pending trial. Now, this is why we got this. Now that things are starting to be released out, this is why we got this right here. Contested detention hearing is held. Defendant is ordered permanently detained. Whoo, child. Hold on, because we got some stuff coming in as we speak. Let me say this. Okay, so let me tell y'all. I just got word. Okay, scheduling notice text only by Magistrate Judge Joel. Defendant Eugene Henley Jr. Let's see. Defendant has requested that the detention hearing currently scheduled for April 10th be continued until April 22nd, 2025. The government does not object. Accordingly, the court finds good cause to continue the detention hearing until April 22nd, 2025. So Big U's court date has been changed to April 22nd. This is just a text in his file. I am going to go ahead and airdrop that to my computer so that you guys can see that note for yourself. Give me 1 second. But let me just say this to y'all as I pull this up. Adam 22 talking about the feds hit him up and asked him about the Big U cease and desist. I don't believe that that is all that Adam is going to be or has been questioned about. Because when you get down to the nitty gritty of all of this, you know how normally we sit back and we say, oh, well, you know, they shouldn't have been on Vlad. They went on Vlad. And, you know, when they went on Vlad, this happened. Yeah, but all of them have been on Vlad. I mean, all of them have been on No Jumper. But No Jumper is mentioned in this case multiple times. Multiple times. And that's crazy work to me. How No Jumper is mentioned as being like ground zero. Remember, I've called No Jumper ground zero several times. Okay, so here it goes. I mean, somebody already screenshotted probably, but so Big U's detention hearing has been moved. It will not be today. It will be on April 22nd, 2025. All right. Now, I'm going to scroll back a little bit into y'all comments. I do say that see that there was some super. Oh, a lot of y'all are putting twos in the chat. So y'all want to know about Baby Joker. Okay. Y'all want to know about Baby Joker. Only Baby Joker I know was on Friday. Nah, baby, this Baby Joker is out of Philadelphia. Okay. So, if No Jumper does not get called into court to testify, first of all, can y'all hear me? Because I asked that earlier in the podcast because I have on my wireless mic. And I know sometimes when I have it flipped inside, I don't know, it just be sounding weird. I have a thing about the way I sound. No Jumper should be called into court, if for nothing else, as a witness, and their videos should most definitely be subpoenaed. I mean, that's what would happen. Yanamin said U.S. versus Townsend is referring to foreign nationals being flight risk. How are they applying that to Bricc? I don't know how the nationals. it applies to Bricc, but they're using that as, I guess, a basis in that. I haven't read that case to even be able to compare. So I'm making an assumption. Well, I'm making a hypothesis because I'm using some kind of knowledge. I'm not just pulling it out my ass, but I think that the reason they're using that is because there's something in that case that is similar that would help them to make their case and drive it home as to why he shouldn't come home. That's just my assumption on that, even though I don't know what it is because I haven't read that case. But there's no way no jumper gets to come out from this scot clean. Audio sounds good. Thank you. When ACT telling these people to stop doing what they're doing is serious, that's a fact. First of all, academics already went through something similar like this. And he's trying to warn them. Like Adam. Okay, let's see. I think I'll start here. I don't know no guys that get off that easy with those crimes. Maybe Michigan just be popping us because ain't no way. I don't know. Like, this is crazy. He does not need bail. Shouldn't have ever been out per the story. This situation low-key crazy. No, it really is. It really is. What happened to the 3 strikes in California? So let me tell you what they're talking about. So I don't know what happened to the 3 strikes in California because it seemed like it's just more of the same, right? And that's what they were saying, that, okay, if you do this, this, and this, and it's the same thing, then you're going to click city, like 10-20 life, 10-20 life. But they kept giving him probation. And I think the reason he kept getting that probation is because the feds were watching him. I think the feds had been watching him for longer than what we know, for sure. And of course, they're going to want him out in order for them to continue to rack up and back him into a wall. That's just a hypothesis. But what I do know is they're taking all of his state offenses and they're going to career criminal him. Now, how do I know about that? Because I told you I have a baby daddy that was in the feds. And I learned about career criminal in the federal. When it comes from state to federal, what happens is the federal, when you get to the feds look at your rap sheet. If you have a rap sheet at the state level, they look at your rap sheet, right? And they assess it to what you are in front of them for. And it's the same thing. They're going to show that this is a pattern of a career criminal, meaning that you're a repeat offender. This is what you do. It's just repeated. So because you're a repeated offender at the state level, now you've reached the fed level. Boom, they're going to hit you with all of it. They get to bring your whole criminal history into it. And his lawyer could try to fight bringing his state cases in. But it looks like the state cases, they obtained a Title III wiretap on him, a federal wiretap on him. So even though these are state offenses, you got him on wiretap. So there's no way. I don't think Bricc is going to be able to get away with none of this. He said, loose coochie and dope fiend Bricc can stay they stupid asses off the fucking phone. They can't stay they stupid asses off the phone. You're right, they can't. Let me go through some of these super chats because we got a couple of more. All right. Thank you. It's Cloud9. I highly appreciate the content. I highly appreciate you being here. Thank you for the super chat. And then he said, I didn't wipe my shoes at the door. First of all, this ain't that. When you come in my house, take off your shoes. This ain't that. Let me stop because I don't want no smoke with him. I don't even want him to say my name. I just want him to stay over there where he at. I can't do it. And the way y'all be violating him in the chat, nah. I mean, it's some New York-ish, and I could get on some New York-ish, which I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to get into some of that. But this Cali stuff is popping. Like, what the hell? We done watched Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon and all of them. But it's not just them. We watched other people do stuff on No Jumper too. Like, No Jumper is in the freaking, you're in the Fed docs, bro. You're in the Fed docs. You're in the Fed docs. Podcasting, knowing you're busy is crazy work. Okay. He has fortune. Yeah, he has. That's when I was asking. Can't feel bad for Bricc. Too old to be moving like a jit. I think that's a problem. Like, some of them forget you're older now. You need to settle down. Pipe down, little baby. When these ish doing things to Bricc Baby mother, it affect. Yeah. He's not even thinking about that, how it's affecting him. I'm a new sub, love your content. Welcome to the bar. Okay, how do you say that? Million? Oh, you spelled it that way, millionaire. Got it. Okay. I don't know. This is crazy to me. What did you say? Adam 22 is the real life Ted McDonald from Snowfall. He's on the next thing operation. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, this is crazy work. He said, nah, I came here. That's life in prison. He will never get out. Man, listen, Sylvia, I don't know. In my opinion, Adam 22 is working with the feds. Girl, that's in all of our opinion. We looking at him sideways the same way we looking sideways at Vlad. Now, Vlad, think about it like this. Vlad got hot. Okay, everybody started saying Vlad was the feds. He got hot. Now they done switched to No Jumper. Now we done switched to No Jumper. I'm thinking back to, I got quiet and like in my mind, I visualized. If y'all notice when I stare out, it's because I'm seeing something mentally. I'm sorry. I just caught a visual of that Kings of Hip Hop podcast thing that they did. And you had Vlad and you had Adam and you had Trap Lord Ross and you had Whack 100 and you had Academics and you had the other kid. What's the other kid's name up there? Now, I feel like Vlad, Whack, and Adam was up there. Academics, I'm kind of on the fence, but it seems like Academics as of late is like, yo, I don't want no parts in that. And when you really think about who is the epitome, did I say it right? Yeah, epitome of hip hop journalism when it comes down to YouTubing and podcasting, No Jumper and Vlad are at the top of the mountain. And you got Academics up there. Academics would be that, but he gets drunk and he just super violates any female. Now y'all got me saying super violate. God dang it. Get that out my head. That's because he said I could take my shoes off. He violates any female that he can whenever he can. Right? So for me, he's not a representation that I really care for. I know Joe Buttons has tried, but come on, Joey's not a good representation of us. We've got Cam Capone. Cam Capone is pretty good. I like Cam Capone's content. We have The Art of Dialogue. I like The Art of Dialogue as well. I haven't been keeping up with The Art of Dialogue as of late, but I know he's been on a lot of Suge Knight stuff, and Reggie Wright been trying to counteract that. Y'all go follow that Tupac assassination channel, RJ. RJ has the files, and he be going over that casework. He has documentaries that he's done on Tupac's case, and him and Reggie Wright are going at it over that, okay? That's how I found out about, let me shut up. I don't want to go off topic. Anyway, Vlad going into retirement, so he wanted to make sure his spies can continue his work. Listen, I feel like he passed the torch to Adam. The only problem is Adam 22, you ain't gonna be able to hide as long as Vlad did. Hey, Grace, thank you. Same to you. Act on his double agent mission. Listen, I don't know. That's why I said I don't know, because you were sitting on that podcast and Trap Lord Ross. I don't know how you be getting all the information you be getting. I mean, research, yes. And he says he has a research team because he was looking for people to come on his research team to help him put those documentaries that he put together. But it's crazy to me how a dude that's across the pond, and I'm not putting an allegation on him, I'm just saying it's crazy work to me how a dude that's across the pond be getting all of this information that he be getting and then be putting it together to where we can actually feel like we're from that place, like we know about that place. Like if you watched any of his stuff on King Von and FBG Duck and all of that stuff, you can go now. If you watched all of that, you could probably go to Chicago and know exactly where not to go and exactly what was going on during that time and what's probably going on now. Like he puts them under a full on. Y'all think he be me. I just be doing this shit from a surface level. I'm just saying it's crazy work. But I don't know. Bricc, I tried to tell y'all he ain't coming home. I mean, I know there was hope that Bricc could kind of come out, but this was before we knew all of this information about this situation. I don't know. I think it's sad because at the root of all of this that's going on with Bricc, we got to always keep in mind that Bricc is also, he be on them perks. Percocet, Molly Percocet. Sorry. That's not, I'm sorry. I'm just saying. But he does. And that alters everything. It does. I feel the same way. Love him or hate him, you can't take away from Trap Lord Ross that he is great. He's a great journalist. He really is. So that's something that we always have to keep in the back of our minds as well when we're sitting here thinking, like, how could he talk to the mother of his kid like that? How can he pull on them? How could he? He's not in his right frame of mind. And he probably wasn't even on his right frame of mind going into work and all that other stuff, doing all the stuff that he was doing on camera. He's not there. But then again, this speaks very much to the level of intellect that a lot of people should have, that they don't have. We live in a modern day technology. Let me tell you something. When The Wire came out, The Wire was their way of letting us know everything that they could do to a degree. You saw how they would bug where you at. They would get in there and put that bug in there. You would never know that they got in there and put a bug. We saw how they could intercept phone calls. We saw how they could intercept text messages and pictures and all types of stuff. They can get in wherever they need to get in at. At one point in time, they used to not be able to get into iPhones. Remember, there was a guy who was making threats and they wanted to get into that phone. The government was trying to get into the phone and Apple was like, no. But I feel like now things have changed. And then you got all of these agents that are out here working, doing pocket. You don't know who's who. Anybody could pop up right now and be undercover FBI and you don't even know it. And that's crazy to me. Hold on. That is my alarm. Yeah, because it's almost time for my other podcast or my other channel, for me to go on my other channel. But it's just crazy work to me. You don't never know who's sitting down interviewing these people. I don't know. People that just all of a sudden sprout up, I side eye. You was just getting 78 views last week. You ain't got nothing that shot up between then to now. And now you just... I'm just saying. Ain't a shot. It's observation. It's an observation. See, me, I've been in this game for almost 2 years now. No swag, no swagger. I'm not an 80s baby. I'm a 70s baby, honey. I'm a 70s baby. Yes, love. 78. So that means I'm a very grown. When I get up here and I'm talking to those who feel where I'm coming from. I'm talking to those who come from the same codes and all of that I come from. I come from the people who have retired and become civilians, or even may still have a pinky toe out there, but still have some common sense and logic to them. I'm talking to the young people that watch my channel. Because like I keep telling y'all, my age range goes from 15 to 65 up. And it's not no little percentage neither. So I'll be up here trying to give some of my old school wisdom. And then plus the topics that I'm talking on, y'all feel me on it because y'all are getting it from a female's perspective. Faye says 90s if you ask me. Oh, thank you. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this. I will start the Bricc Baby playlist for y'all so y'all can go through and catch all of the times that I have spoken on Bricc Baby because I've been on this since it started. I gave y'all a big U update. He's not going to court today. He will be going to court on the 22nd. And we're just going to keep our eyes on all of this. Chrisean people, if you want to hear a little bit of gossip or whatever, bring it on over to Straight Hitting Media. And I will see y'all in the next video. Love is always love. High vibes to your day. Remember to vibe high so that the bullshit don't stick. And we are out of here, my loves. Make sure you enjoy the day and stay y'all asses out of Click Click City, please. And thank you, because I want to see y'all tomorrow morning.